Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as we welcome the class of 2018. Please remain standing while Max Sjostrom sings the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly breathing, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I hope that's not the last time Max sings that song for us. I hope he comes back and sings it, because that's amazing. Thank you, Max. So first, a couple of logistical issues. We have an AED at the top of the stairs. There are exits in the corners and in the back corners, and then right at about 3/4 of the way up the room on the left. But I'd just like to take a moment to thank the many clubs, organizations, and even individuals who year after year support our graduating seniors with scholarships. We are very fortunate to live in such a caring and supportive community. And I want you to know that we are very grateful for all that you do for our students. All right, let's get started. So the first order of business tonight is to give out the valedictorian and salutatorian awards, which is a pretty big deal. So former Gorham High School principal, teacher, and coach, Ernest Herman established the salutatorian and valedictorian plaques given annually at our commencement exercises. He left his trademark of selfless commitment on nearly everyone with whom he worked. Students who graduated under his tenure have most likely become better people because of his influence. It is with pride that the tradition of excellence symbolized by these plaques continues tonight. The recipients for salutatorian, David Hendrick. And our valedictorian, Maxwell Sjostrom. At this time, I'd like to bring up our salutatorian, David Hendrick, while he gives his commencement.
I'd first like to take a moment to say thank you to all my teachers along the way, my friends, my parents, and God. I could have never earned the opportunity to be standing here in front of you all today had it not been for the overwhelming support and help that I received along the way, so thank you. The title of my speech is 1,200 miles. That signifies the roundabout distance from my hometown of Conway, South Carolina to right here in Gorham, New Hampshire. Moving here has likely had the biggest impact on my life out of every singular event to have ever occurred in my life, to say the least. The move here was a bit more than a change of scenery. I was from a far more populous area, as well as living right next to the tourist hub that is Myrtle Beach. And now I'm here in the town of Gorham with close to 2,600 people, I think. A little different. With such a dramatic population difference there comes many more changes, and of course the foremost impactful upon me was school. When I left Conway, South Carolina in March of my sophomore year, there were roughly 400 students in my class. When I moved here, I was shocked to learn that not only were there only around 30 students in my class, the high school and middle school were also in the same building. That was a little weird. Uh, 240 students, roughly the grand total between the two, 1,600 back home and a high school. Uh, Not what I was used to, and so as you could all likely assume, things weren't quite the same. The first difference I ran into was a difference of course availability. Back home, I was taking some courses that weren't quite offered here, like AP European History, woodshop, and the class had already taken biology, so that sucked. To say the least, I was a little surprised and a little disappointed, but that's not really to talk down upon the school because clearly we're at a much smaller school here, and having such a large coursework variety just doesn't really make sense here. Differences like those are really what caught my mind's eye when I was coming up with a speech to give you all today, though. The differences that really shine through are more of the social and personal variety. You see, when you go to a bigger school, you're less of an individual and much more of a number, rather a GPA attached to a name that only really gets recognition at an award ceremony or a sports event. Here at Gorham High School, I got a far different experience. I was not just another student, I was me. Not only was I able to receive a much more personal learning experience, as the teachers usually had more time for me, I was also able to discover myself as a person. When I moved here, I saw the community as well as the student body as far more receptive to social divergence, as well as full of support for all involved. This was very surprising, as I had originally assumed the opposite. I had thought that coming to such a small school with such a small class size would be difficult, because I believed it would be hard to break into the likely closely bonded group of people that made up my class. Most of these people had clearly known each other since they were children, and I always figured that I'd be the odd man out. I was not correct at all. Not only did I develop amazing friendships, I was received by the people in this town so much more positively than I had been back home. There were basically too many people for me to be noticed back home as much, but here everybody knew my name by the end of my first week. Looking back on my first day, it was a day that I won't ever forget, and this is likely because I saw Mr. Hamill in a dress. That was weird. My first day here was the Friday of Winter Carnival in 2016, and as I came into the gym, everybody around me just come up, wanted to shake my hand, introduce themselves, get to know me a little bit, and overall just make me feel welcome. At first, I was kind of expecting an underwhelming experience, considering the entire high school was right here in this gymnasium. I was very wrong, though. I was actually overwhelmed by the acceptance and kindness that I did encounter. As time went on, I found myself becoming ingrained in this class, and I truly felt as though I was a significant and an important member of it, just as everybody sitting behind me is. And even beyond my own class, I wasn't short of friends. The majority of my close friends are actually in the junior class. To say the least, I was able to branch out here in Gorham. I remember multiple times going down to the Common to play a game we called Sting, which is pretty much an excuse to throw a tennis ball at each other. At games like this, I remember hanging out with freshmen, juniors, sophomores, and me, a senior, all alike. So that made one of the biggest things I'm going to miss about this town, the feeling of love that I got from this community from the beginning. Going hand in hand with, developing these amazing friendships, like I said, it was here that I was finally able to hop out of the nest that is school. By that I mean, back home I would go to school, I'd come home, I'd do my homework, and I wouldn't do too much else outside of that. To say the least, it wasn't what I'd call a thrilling lifestyle. But once I moved here, it occurred to me that I was losing a lot of valuable time. Of course, my schoolwork was important, but if schoolwork is all I ever knew, then what kind of a life was I living? The people here helped me break free of this. I began going out with my friends on the weekends, neglecting some homework here and there, and taking some of my focus off of my classes and focusing more on the people and things that made me happy. I wanted to live my life for myself rather than being told how to do so by others. I was told many times by many people that I was going to ruin everything I worked so hard to achieve by goofing off and working a little less hard this year. Every time I'd put something off by a day or two, each time my grades would slip just a little bit, I was told I was going to screw myself, essentially. I was told by some that I was a completely different student this year, and it wasn't a good change for me. I get it. I went from working diligently to working enough to get by, yet nobody really once stopped to ask me why. You see, I was juggling all the demands of school, my advanced coursework, online courses to make up for credits I somehow lacked, as well as a 30-hour-a-week job and a newfound social life. I'd always felt like I had grown up just a little too soon, so now is my chance to live a little, to be a kid. So yeah, I didn't really work on that paper until a couple nights before it was due, or sometimes the day it was due. No, I didn't always make time to take copious amounts of notes for my AP classes. No, I didn't always take the time to study for all my quizzes and tests. But at the end of the day, I'm still standing on this stage right here talking to all of you, and I had a grand time getting here. What I want everybody to know, what I want my fellow graduating seniors to know, what I want the underclassmen to know, what I want all the teachers and parents here to know is that slacking off is sometimes important. Losing a bit of our focus is important. High school is the time of our lives in which we're supposed to go out and have a little bit too much fun. We're supposed to go do really dumb stuff, which I'm good at. We're supposed to turn in assignments late, and most importantly, we're supposed to find ourselves. I know I've done that, but it doesn't seem to happen for everybody. Now, what exactly do I mean by find myself? I define it loosely as discovering your own personality, your own meaning of success, who you are and what you enjoy, and learning to live that way. The problem is that as a society and in schools alike, we aren't really being given much opportunity to do so. And my years as a student, it has become evident to me that we simply cannot shake the idea that success is linear. What I mean by that is that we make our youth believe that success is only attainable from a single pathway that is force-fed from the moment children are able to understand it. And taking time from yourself somehow indicates that you've strayed from the pathway. To boil down the concept of success to such a simple and rigid route is laughably ignorant in my book. I'll let you in on a little secret. It's okay if you spend a night or two here and there hanging out with friends rather than completing odd problems 3 through 27 on page 254 for your math class. It's okay to take that cooking elective over a class that looks good for colleges. It's okay to glance over Spark Notes just before a quiz because you felt like you needed to be there for your friend the night before. It's okay to postpone or skip studying one night to do something that makes you happy. It's okay to be an imperfect student because perfection is often an unattainable goal. Stray from the pathway a little bit here and there to live for yourself and to serve others in their pursuit of the same. Because in the end, it seems that this so-called imperfection could truly lead to a perfect life. Good luck, class of 2018. Thank you.
Next up, we have Maxwell Sjostrom with his words, "Never Die Young."
Thank you. Thank you. James Taylor, one of the greatest and most influential singer-songwriters in music history. He has won 5 Grammy Awards and has been recognized as one of the best-selling music artists of all time. He has sold over 100 million records worldwide and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2000. These achievements are what all musicians aspire to achieve. His past, however, tells a story about hardships and battles within, a story we can learn much about. At the age of 13, James Taylor began attending Milton Academy in Massachusetts, a preparatory boarding school. He spent 4 years at this school, and he was recognized by his teachers as one of the highest achieving students in his class. His grades were exceptional, but his teachers noticed he wasn't very motivated. His father, being the dean for the University of North Carolina's School of Medicine, had very high expectation for James's success in school. So, when James dropped out of Milton his junior year to establish his music career, his family was obviously not ecstatic. In the following years, however, James Taylor started to create a music empire that we still recognize almost 50 years later. His first album with Warner Brothers in 1970, with its title track, Fire and Rain, was a significant international hit that is recognized as one of the greatest musical arrangements in history. What can this tell us? What can we learn from his journey? What I learn is a story of persistence in the name of one man's dream. His path was meant to lead in a certain direction. He was meant to be a mathematician or an engineer, and James Taylor would have been one of the best. He was naturally very talented in his studies, but it wasn't his passion. His passion since a young age was music, and after spending several years at Milton Prep School, he simply just couldn't take it anymore. He moved out. He went to New York City and started a band, and it was the start of a long career that has formed the music world into what it is today. Now, I'm not saying that I'm comparable to James Taylor at all. My point is that he followed his instinct, his dream. He realized what it was that he wanted in life, and it happened to be music. He grasped it, and he made it a reality. Somebody told me lately that life is like a tape measure. The average length of a person's life is about 80 years. So, for a moment, let's pretend each year of someone's life equals 1 inch. That would give each of us 80 inches. If you pull out a tape measure, you will find that 80 inches can represent your entire life. That's pretty short when you think about it. You can only have 80 inches, or 80 inches to do all that you've ever wanted, 80 inches to do everything on your bucket list. Only 80 inches to make it last. Please, please, don't spend all 80 inches being unhappy. When your 80 inches is up, don't look back on your life with regret for not pursuing what you were destined to do. Spend each day doing whatever makes you happy. We have such a short amount of time on this earth, so please don't spend your entire life living unhappily. Find what it is that you love and do it. To all of you middle and high schoolers out there, I know you must be considering your future and what you'll do with your life. And trust me, I was in your shoes. In middle school, I had no idea what I was supposed to do, but I loved math and science. I thought that someday I might pursue that. That idea followed me into high school, and I found myself up to only a few months ago following that same idea. I never really looked at myself when considering the future. I let everyone around me create this idea of what I wanted to be. I wasn't thinking for myself. I never thought about what I wanted, and quite frankly, lots of people will never ask themselves that one question: what do I want out of life? It's tragic that so many people will throw away who they were born to be to satisfy a paycheck. Please don't follow the norm. Before you consider others' opinions of your life, consider your own. Think about who you want to be, where you want to be in the future. Once you've got that image in your head, do everything you can to make it happen. It might take some hard work and dedication, but the result will be totally worth it. Life is just too short not to do what you love. Like James Taylor wrote, never give up, never slow down, never grow old, and never, ever die young. Thank you.
So, I first want to thank the senior class for asking me to give this commencement. It's a true honor. And the truth is, I feel a special bond with this class as they were freshmen when I started, and now we are all moving up and out to bigger things, or other things. I really appreciate it. I really do. But before I start, I have to acknowledge that the school year has had its challenges, and when I say that, I mean mostly the loss of a student, Eli Smith. And I'd like us all to take a moment of silence to recognize this brave, caring young man who left us way too soon. Thank you. So I'm going to spend most of the time tonight telling a story that I first learned when I was 18 years old, when I was a freshman in college. I shared this story at the beginning of the school year with our staff. Over the years, it has opened the door to many discussions, and the learning from these discussions has helped me immensely. There are so many lessons that this story teaches, I felt it would be a fitting bookend to the year to tell it to this group of seniors. Can you all hear me all right? Can you hear? Okay. In August of 1914, British polar explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton and a crew of 27 men left England on a ship named the Endurance. The men were bound in what was at the time considered the last great polar journey. They sought to cross the Antarctic continent. After leaving the United Kingdom for the sub-Antarctic, the crew arrived at South Georgia Island and then sailed into the Weddell Sea. 3 days later, they began to observe patches of sea ice that were not typical for that time of year. The crew sought leads or openings in the sea ice, trying to reach land. On a cold night, Shackleton ordered the crew to stop the engines in order to save fuel. In the morning, they awoke to find that the ship was trapped in sea ice. The expedition was stranded with no means of contacting the outside world for help. The crew tried in vain to break the boat from the sea ice, but eventually realized that they would need to winter over on their ship. In order to keep up the morale of the men, Shackleton made sure that everyone was busy and fostered a sense of interdependence among the crew members. Officers ate with their crew. All of the crew participated in group activities as well as sports, including soccer. There were sled dogs on board, and the crew trained and bonded with them. Through all of these distractions, Shackleton was clear with his crew and that their strength was determined by their collaboration. As spring approached, tragedy struck, and instead of the ice releasing the ship, it constricted further and crushed the hull. After living on board the Endurance for almost a year, they were forced to abandon the ship. The goal of the expedition quickly shifted to saving every life. For the next several months, the men lived on the ice, hoping they would drift closer to land. They called this new home Patience Camp, and patient they had to be. While they waited on the ice, they continued to be active, training the dogs, celebrating milestones, and engaging in sports, including, I want to emphasize, soccer. Food was running low, and hunger was always an issue. When the men would venture close to open leads, they would occasionally be mistaken for penguins by ferocious sea leopards. Instead of panicking, the men would dispatch the animals, and what could have been a tragic event turned into a glorious one, enabling the team to eat fresh meat. After being trapped on the ice for their 15th month, the crew realized they could feel the rolling of the ocean. The ice was breaking up. They launched the Endurance lifeboats in search of land. Once they set to sea, they tried to land on large icebergs in order to camp for the night and warm their rations. This worked only once, and for the rest of the voyage, they were wet and crowded on small boats in a giant ocean. Frank Worsley was an amazing navigator, and with him guiding the flotilla, they were able to land successfully on Elephant Island after 7 days at sea. While they were on land for the first time in 497 days, this isolated island offered no hope of rescue or resources other than the occasional penguin. Shackleton and 4 volunteers were forced to set sail again in the largest of the lifeboats, the 22-foot James Caird. They would need to cross 800 miles of the roughest seas on Earth to the whaling stations of South Georgia Island, where they had started their trip. The small crew was constantly wet, tired, and tossed around by gale-force winds and giant waves. They knew from the outset that if they missed the island, the next land they would see would be Africa. Worsley was their navigator, and using only a handheld sextant, he was able to guide the boat directly to South Georgia. After 17 days at sea, they landed the boat on the opposite side of the island from the whaling camps. The boat was too damaged to set back out, so the men determined they would have to cross the island on foot. Wearing wet and battered clothing with just 3 days' provisions, the men trudged nearly 30 miles over rugged crevasses and peaks. At one point, they had reached the top of a cliff, and with darkness and fog approaching, they decided to slide off the other side. They knew that to stay on the top of the mountain through the night would mean certain death, and the gamble paid off as they slid over a mile into the valley below. For 36 hours, the men traveled nonstop and eventually reached the other side of the island. 17 months after they set out on their trip, they arrived at Stromness whaling station. But it wasn't over yet. As soon as he was able, Shackleton borrowed a ship and returned to Elephant Island. It required multiple attempts, but in the end, he was able to rescue every single man and return safely to England. It's an amazing story. I'm sure you'd agree. And now I want to take a few more moments to look at some lessons worth reviewing for these soon-to-be graduates. With every challenge, we have a choice in how we face it. So be purposeful when you set goals. Know where you are headed and why you are going. The endurance expedition set out with a clear vision and direction. This meant that training, preparing, packing, and hiring were all determined by the need of the voyage. Also know when to change the goal. Know when it is time to yield. Shackleton started out with the goal of transnavigating the Antarctic, but that had to change based on circumstances. When frozen in the ice, the goal changed to wintering over successfully. When the boat crumbled, the goal changed to hiking to land. When the ice moved them too far from land, the goal became to sail to safety. When the island ended up uninhabited and forlorn, the new goal became to sail to an inhabited island. Whatever the goal, Shackleton stayed true to his vision. There was always a clear path forward and clarity that the new goal would be achieved. Don't forget, your mindset matters. We all are confronted with obstacles in life. How we face them is up to us. If in every situation you find your role and do the best you can, if you work with your team, support each other, and make the best of the situation, you will face your challenges with grace and honor and find that you routinely accomplish more than you thought you could. As Shackleton famously said, optimism is true moral courage. Reading this story in Alfred Lansing's book Endurance had a profound effect on me as an 18-year-old and continues to have an effect on me 30 years later. I hope the story I shared tonight stays with you. I hope it helps you as you think about the choices you will make and challenges you will face. Good luck in whatever you pursue. With moral courage and a clear vision, you will accomplish anything you set your minds to. Congratulations to the class of 2018. All right, give me a second to transition and we'll start handing out some awards. All right, we start tonight with the Joseph Small Arts Prize. Joe Small graduated from Gorham High School in 1975. Joe was a very involved member of the drama club while in school and realized his dream of performing on stage. Because of his love of the arts, Joe established this $1,000 arts prize in 1990 to acknowledge students who have a passion for the arts and have displayed proven commitment and dedication to his or her artistic field throughout their high school career. This year's recipient is a senior who displays this passion for the arts and will no doubt continue performing throughout his life. Maxwell Sjostrom. Next up, the New Hampshire Association of Broadcasters Scholarship. I bet just saying that name, there's people here who know who that's going to. Established in 1954, the New Hampshire Association of Broadcasters is a nonprofit trade organization for over-the-air radio and television stations. This year, we are pleased to announce that one of the members of our graduating class, who will be majoring in communications at Southern New Hampshire University, has been awarded a $2,500 scholarship. Congratulations to Lance Legere. Next up, the Fisher Cats Scholarship. The Fisher Cats Foundation is proud to support our youth through Fisher Cats Foundation Scholarship athlete scholarships they award each year. It is my distinct pleasure to award this $2,500 scholarship to Delaney Holmes. So this is an award that's typically given out by the family, but they were unable to attend tonight, and they apologize for not being here. But Mr. and Mrs. Fitzgerald have asked me to give out this award, which is an honor. So I thank them. In 2011, Dennis Fitzgerald, a Gorham High School graduate with the class of 1967, established the Fitzgerald Scholarship Fund to support graduating seniors, beginning with the class of 2012. He expanded that in 2013 by offering not only a scholarship to a graduating senior, but also scholarships to past recipients of the Fitzgerald Scholarship. To date, the Fitzgeralds have assisted 9 of our former students. Tonight's recipients each receive a $2,500 scholarship. Our first recipient is Delaney Holmes. And our second recipient is Lee Chi Lee. And this is an exciting prize because we continue to offer this award to students who have received it in the past. So receiving continuing studies scholarship this year in the amount of $2,500 each are Emily Groan, class of 2015. She's currently studying at UNH. Monique Cody, class of 2016. She's currently a student at Plymouth State University. And Devin Peters, class of 2016. She's also currently at Plymouth State. If any of these college students are here in the audience, and I think I've seen at least 2 of them, please see Mrs. Terrio after tonight's ceremony. The Fitzgeralds are pleased to support Delaney, Lee, Emily, Monique, and Devin, and congratulate them on their academic success. All right, at this time, I'm going to turn the mic over to Randy Labnan, who is going to give out the Northway Bank Award.
Good evening. I am pleased to represent the Northway Bank at this ceremony to honor all of the seniors who are graduating from Gorham High School and to present the bank's Scholarship for Excellence. This is the 40th consecutive year in which we've awarded these scholarships to seniors graduating from North Country High Schools. Following guidelines provided by the bank, the selection in the school has been made by the school's administrators using the following criteria: academic excellence, personal character, and qualities of leadership. We believe that graduates who have demonstrated these qualities are likely to develop into the kind of future leaders much needed in our country. Since its inception, the Northway Bank Scholarship for Excellence has awarded almost $710,000 to 141 students in North Country High Schools. The program is strongly supported by the Board of Directors and the bank, who join me in thanking the parents, administrators, teachers, mentors, and coaches for the important role they've played in helping to prepare this. It's popping. I don't speak in microphones very often, so I get a little nervous. Anyway, the 2018 Northway Bank Scholarship for Excellence has a total of $4,000, with the recipient receiving $1,000 in each of his or her college years, so long as good academic standing is maintained. On behalf of the Board of Directors of our bank, it is an honor for me to present the 2018 Northway Bank Scholarship for Excellence to, I don't know who it is, Max Shostrom.
At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Jen Stewart and Wayne McCucci to give out the RE/MAX Northeast Edge Realty Scholarship, and then Jennifer Stewart's going to stay up for the North Country Board of Realtors Scholarship.
Good evening. Congratulations to the class of 2018. In 2011, the agents at RE/MAX Northern Edge Realty started a program called Giving Back. The program is a way for each of the agents at RE/MAX to give something back to the community that supports each of them. Each agent donates a portion of his or her earnings to this program. The money is then given out to local individuals and families in need, sports programs, school programs, and various local charitable organizations in our community. RE/MAX Northern Edge Realty has donated over $50,000 in that time, and that has in some way been used to directly help our community. Several years ago, we decided to start a scholarship for deserving senior that is going on to higher education. We asked the candidates to write a short essay describing what their community means to them and how they have or will give back to their community in the future. We wanted to find out what some of our bright young citizens felt about the community they live in, and also what they were doing to help make it a better place.
We want to thank all those who applied for this scholarship and took the time to write the essay. We were very pleased to see that so many of you are also proud of the area you live in, and that so many of you take the time to find ways to give back to your community. Congratulations to the entire class of 2018 and to the winner of the RE/MAX Giving Back Scholarship, Michaela Err. Again, congratulations to the class of 2018. The North Country Board of Realtors is proud to award 3 $250 scholarships a year. We receive several applications from all over the North Country every year. And this year, I'm proud to say that one of the scholarships is being awarded to Lance Legier.
Next up is Dana Horn to give out the Lucy M. Edwards Memorial Scholarship.
On behalf of the family of Lucy M. Edwards, I'd like to congratulate the class of 2018. Lucy was a very special lady, one of the hardest working women I ever knew, raised 6 daughters on her own. And the family, this is the 20th anniversary of her passing, and the family thought this was a good way to keep her memory alive as well as help out a graduating senior in Gorham. The only stipulation that the family put on the scholarship at all, it was chosen by the school, but the only stipulation, it had to be a basketball player. Basketball was one of her passions. She played it herself and watched her children and her grandchildren play it, many of them right here in this gym. So that had to be part of the choosing of the scholarship. And I'm very proud to say this year's scholarship goes to Lance Legier.
All right, next up we have James Patry, and he's coming up to do the Angela McKenzie Memorial Scholarship, the AVH Miriam Gaynor Scholarship, and White Mountain Rotary Club Scholarship.
Make sure I get the right winners for the right awards here. The Angela McKenzie Memorial Scholarship is given each year in memory of Angie, who graduated from here in 1991. It's funded by friends, family, and classmates, and it's awarded to a graduating senior who plans to study either education or nursing, both of which she studied. This year, I'm pleased to present a $500 scholarship to Emily Tangy. Androscoggin Valley Hospital held a special place in Miriam Gaynor's heart. When she passed away in 1984, she bequeathed part of her estate to the hospital, a gift valued at more than $1 million. Because of her enthusiasm for education, the hospital board of directors decided that income earned on her bequest would be used to fund education in selected healthcare careers. The board felt the scholarship program would be an appropriate way to honor Ms. Gaynor and assure the availability of selected healthcare professionals at AVH and in the community. On behalf of Androscoggin Valley Hospital, I'm pleased to announce the recipient of this year's Miriam Gaynor Scholarship Award in the amount of $3,000 to Delaney Holmes. And finally, White Mountain Rotary of Berlin and Gorham prides itself on service above self, and as such, we're pleased to serve this scholarship this year to Carissa LaChance.
All right, next up I'm going to turn it over to Phyllis Kukuru. And she's going to give out the Fred's Fishing Fund Scholarship.
It's Kirkaroo. Kirkaroo. Okay? Fred's Fishing Fund Scholarship is given in loving memory of my husband, Fred Otto, of Randolph, New Hampshire, and Littleton, Massachusetts. Now for a short story with a moral for the graduates. Fred learned to fish at an early age and continued to learn throughout his life. He became quite an accomplished fisherman. In fact, my brother-in-law, his brother-in-law, a registered Maine guide, called Fred the best fly fisherman he'd ever seen. He got there by practice, practice, practice. Also beginning with Cannon in 1979 and ending with Mount Washington in 1992, Fred and I climbed all 48 of the 4,000-foot mountains in the state of New Hampshire. Fred wasn't only a hiker and a fisherman. His dedication to hard work carried him throughout his life, whether at work or at home. Whether fishing, hiking, working, he always completed every task he ever set out to do as perfectly as possible. That's the moral of the story. Always complete every task you are going to do, you say you're going to do, to the best of your ability. I'd like to thank all of you who said it in essays. I hope each of you learned something from what you wrote. Finally, the winner for this year is Shyla Mercier. Yay!
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Next up is Joel LaCroix to give out the Paul A. LaCroix Memorial Scholarship.
Congratulations, class of 2018. Every year, my family gives out a scholarship to a student that is going to college for a science-related field. This year's scholarship goes to Delaney Holmes.
Next up, Greg and Jennifer Corrigan. They're going to give out the Harry E. Corrigan Memorial Scholarship and the Gorham Randolph Shelburne Scholarship Fund scholarships.
56 years ago, a local scholarship fund was started by Harry Corrigan, a 1941 graduate of Gorham High School, the father of 4 Gorham High School graduates from the classes of 63, 64, 66, and 68, the grandfather of 3 graduates from 88, 90, and 1995, and the great-grandfather of future grads. This is coming up quick, classes of 2024 and 2026. In his memory, his family created the Harry E. Corrigan Memorial Scholarship to recognize a well-rounded student athlete deserving of this scholarship. This year's recipient is Max Sostrom. Harry also established a local chapter of Dollars for Scholars, which is now known as the Gorham-Randolph-Shelburne Scholarship Fund, managed by the Gorham-Randolph-Shelburne Education Foundation. We are grateful to the community, friends, and families for the wonderful support you have given. This class behind me raised $7,250 in this year's door-to-door fund drive, which was matched by GHS alumni Dennis Fitzgerald for a total of $14,500. All money raised every year in this campaign is awarded that very same year, in addition to the recurring scholarships overseen by GRSEF. And all seniors receiving a scholarship award this evening participated in the fundraising effort. It is hoped that when they are financially able to do so, these graduates will return the money to the organization so that other students may also benefit. It is my privilege to present the Gorham-Randolph-Shelburne Scholarship Fund Awards to the following recipients: Sabrina Connors, Daniel Cotnoir, Lillian Couture, Caitlin Delafontaine, Riley Fitzmaurice, Kelly Galemba, Victoria Goodrow, Cassie Hartshorn, Delaney Holmes, Carissa LaChance, Liam Lake, Jack Lambertson, Lance Legere, Lee Chi Lee, Savannah Lutz, Amelia Martin, Carly Roy, Max Sostrom, Emily Tangy, Michaela Congratulations to the class of 2018 and best wishes to you.
All right, I'm back up. This next scholarship is the Brookfield Renewable Power Scholarship. The funds for this scholarship were made possible by Brookfield Renewable Power. As a local leader in renewable energy, Brookfield is proud to have the opportunity to support the region's future math, technology, engineering, and environmental service professionals. This year's scholarship is awarded to David Hendrick. Next up, we have the Margaret and Sumner Ruggles Memorial Scholarship. The Margaret and Sumner Ruggles Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $3,000 is given in their memory by their two daughters and their family. Sumner graduated from GHS in 1937, and Margaret taught music in the Gorham schools for a number of years. Gorham continues to be important to the family, and by providing this scholarship, they hope that other graduates of Gorham High School will have the opportunity to make full use of their gifts. This year's recipient is Amelia Martin. The next award is the Gorham High School Alumni Association Scholarship. The Gorham Alumni Association has supported our graduating seniors for many years by providing scholarships to a son or daughter of GHS. This year is my honor to present these two $750 awards on behalf of the Alumni Association. First, to Sabrina Connors. And the second to Emily Tangy. Next up, the Reginald Currier Memorial Scholarship. Established by the Currier family, the Reginald Currier Memorial Scholarship is presented annually to a graduating senior who displays drive and passion for their chosen career. I am pleased to present this $500 scholarship to Kelly Galumba. Next up, the Berlin City Auto Group Scholarship. On behalf of the Berlin City Auto Group, I am pleased to award this scholarship to a hard-working, dedicated, and extremely kind young woman. This year's scholarship is awarded to Caitlin Delafontaine. Next up is the Roy and Wava Hamlin Scholarship. The Roy and Wava Hamlin Scholarship was established by their family to honor the many contributions the Hamlins made to Gorham throughout their lifetimes. This scholarship is awarded annually to a graduating senior who exemplifies academic excellence. This year's recipient is Victoria Goodrow. Next, we have the Sarah Boswell Memorial Scholarship. The Sarah Boswell Memorial Scholarship is given in honor of Sarah, who passed away in 1989. This scholarship is presented annually to a graduate actively involved in a community service and is a member of the school's FBLA club. This year, the Sarah Boswell Memorial Scholarship is awarded to Carissa LaChance. Next is the Fletcher Buster Brush Memorial Scholarship. The Fletcher Buster Brush Memorial Scholarship was established in 2009 to honor Buster Brush, a friend, coach, mentor, and tireless community volunteer. As Buster did, this recipient exemplifies the characteristics of compassion, a strong work ethic, school spirit, leadership, community service, and a desire to challenge herself. This $1,000 scholarship, which is renewable for up to 4 years, is awarded to Michaela Err. Next up, Rob Hamill will present the Danny Lejeune Memorial Scholarship.
It is an honor for me to once again present the Danny Lejeune Scholarship. This scholarship is offered each year in Danny's memory to the Gorham High School senior who best exhibits the same qualities as Danny: honesty, integrity, kindness, compassion, and morals. It is a scholarship showing that being a role model for peers and adults alike has little to do with age and everything to do with character. Danny was certainly a role model to us all. The scholarship is about being a whole person, about a person the scholarship committee sees as someone who uplifted everyone he or she came in contact with. And this year's recipient is Lance Legere.
Next up, we have Abby Bernier to give the Megan Santee Memorial Scholarship.
Megan's family and friends established this scholarship in her memory to be given to a deserving candidate already enrolled in a college or university. This year's recipient was a member of FBLA while in high school. She currently attends Husson University in Bangor, Maine, and will earn her undergraduate degree in healthcare studies in the fall, with plans to attend grad school for occupational therapy. On behalf of Megan's family and Gorham High School's FBLA club, this year's award goes to Maggie Courier. Congratulations.
I would now like to recognize the students who participated in and completed our CTE programs. I'll call them out by name and bring them down. Michaela Bell. Savannah Lutz. Amelia Martin. Tanner Robinson. And Brittany Walker. At this time, if I can have Greg Corrigan and Barney Valier join me on stage, we're going to get started with what everybody came here for. I will now call the graduates down to be awarded their diplomas. Maxwell Robert Shostrom. David Dakota Hendrick. Danielle Renee Cottonwire. Lillian Marissa Couture. Caitlin Lisa Delafontaine. Riley Anna Fitzmaurice. Kelly Lynn Galumba. Victoria Grace Goodrow. Cassandra Louise Hartshorn. Delaney Lynn Holmes. Liam Lake. Jack Gordon Lambertson. Lance Paul Legere. Lee Chi Lee. Amelia Kaylee Martin. Carly Kwan Chang Roy. Emily May Tangy. Michaela Maria Michaela Louise Bell. Jacob Ryan Carrier. Sabrina Jo Connors. Carissa Lucia LaChance. Matthew Paul LaFlamme. Savannah May Lutz. Shyla Ann Mercier. Tanner Norman Robinson. Noah Robert Paul Schombeck. And Brittany Marie Walker. By the power vested in me by the Gorham-Randolph-Shelburne Cooperative School Board and the state of New Hampshire, I pronounce to you the graduates of Gorham High School. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our newest alumni, the class of 2018. The staff of the Gorham Middle and High School values the time when students, parents, relatives, and teachers come together to celebrate the completion of the K-12 educational experience. To the class of 2018, I applaud your perseverance. Further, I challenge you to go forward and make our world a better place. Have a safe, wonderful weekend, and congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2018.